And I wish I could turn back the clock. And this is, peeling back the curtain. This is some of my parenting guilt. I wish I could go back and hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're a parent of young children, like toddler age, and they're hitters, they're biters, they say bad things, they do all of these things that we that drive us crazy as parents, then that's exactly what this parent is going through. She wrote in, and that's exactly what we are going to talk about in this. We're going to look at this situation and give you about 3 specific things that you can work on with your child to better understand this behavior, and most importantly, how to correct it and move on and build that connection. Let's get into it. She says, please help. I don't know how to handle when my 3-year-old girl hits, pushes, hurts, takes toys away. It mostly happens to her 1-year-old brother. She's not affected by anything I've tried because her behavior continues almost immediately. And she thinks it's funny. As soon as she hurts her brother, she looks at me and grins. I know that this is normal for her age to lack impulse control, but what is the appropriate response? That's the main question at hand. And I also want to get into this later too. I've read a half dozen gentle parenting books in the last couple months, but they've all muddled together in my mind, and I don't know what to do in the moment. Very good question. Here we go. So the first thing to know is congratulate yourself. If you are watching this, if you are taking time to ask a Facebook group or a community or email a question, or taking time to seek an answer for this kind of behavior, give yourself a pat on the back, because that's a win. Whenever we're stuck, it's, I guess, human nature to just feel like you're stuck and that there is no way out. And simply by getting this question out, it may have come a solution to try or to test, or some ideas to test. And if not, somebody else may have an idea for you to test, right? But the important thing is to get it out, not keep it bottled up. And then when you find an idea or something to test, a solution to try, to actually try it, and try it with the intention to get better, with the intention to make things better, right? And we're going to get into that later with the second half about the gentle parenting books. But first, she's a 3-year-old. She hits, pushes, hurts, take toys. I also have a son who, at that age, was a hitter, a biter, did things like this, that all things that we would consider bad behavior. And people would say that he's being bad. And I wish I could turn back the clock. And this is, peeling back the curtain. This is some of my parenting guilt. I wish I could go back and ask people and tell people, please don't tell my son that he's bad. And if you are in this situation, don't let other people, and don't you tell your child, your boy or your girl, that they're being a bad boy or they're being a bad girl. Because at this age, you're just implanting in their head their identity that they are bad. And that takes a long time, and that takes a lot of work to undo that. Because what you're doing, you're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because at this age, it's not like if you tell me, an adult, that I'm doing something bad and I'm making mistakes, Jesse, that's bad. You're being bad. Okay, well, what is it? Like, let's fix it, right? We can think rationally. A 3-year-old cannot. It's just they can't. That their part of their brain has not developed. It's like asking her to do a slam dunk, right? So first of all, I don't know if you have, but if you have, it's time to stop, and don't let other people. I wish that I had told other people not to do this, but don't let people tell her that she's bad, right? Or that she's being bad, because that gets implanted into her identity, and you'll get more of that bad behavior. So when she says she's not affected by anything I've tried because her behavior continues almost immediately, those are not the same thing. Those are not the same thing, that she's not affected by it and her behavior continues immediately. Those are not the same thing. In fact, it may be she is affected by it, depending on how you are responding and reacting to this. It could mean that it is affecting her very much, and it's reinforcing that negative behavior, that hurtful behavior. And that goes back to what I just said about labeling somebody as bad. Not saying you're doing this, not saying this parent is doing this, but it's enough to be mindful of ourselves and our own language and our own communication, because many times we could be saying something, but we don't see it ourselves. So we're saying something and we're not aware that we're saying it. So the first step is, well, after celebrating yourself for seeking advice, watching this video, doing what you can to understand the situation, after doing that, the first step is self-awareness. Be aware of the words you use. And you might say right now, well, I know what I use. No, we don't. It's just, you're human, right? If you're human, you don't know everything that you say and how you say it and how it's coming across, right? So it comes back to self-awareness. What am I saying? Because in these moments when stress is high and we're triggered and it seems like nothing is changing, these are the times when we revert to our old patterns of behavior that we've learned when we were children, whether it's our parents, how they reacted to us, or how teachers reacted to us, or how older siblings or cousins or friends or whatever behave to us. Those old cycles and those old patterns come out in these high moments of stress and trigger, right? So first, next time this happens, take stock in what is your natural instinct to want to say, and then ask, is this helpful? Will this help? What am I labeling this child as? What am I doing? And then you might be able to see where the communication breakdown is. And you might be able to see that maybe the things that you're saying in your reaction is affecting her. Maybe she is being affected, but the way she's being affected by your response is leading to more of this behavior. That's most of the time what it is, just because we're human and that's how it works. That's how we work. So number one, take stock, self-awareness, take stock and write down what you say to her and how you say it. And the next thing to do is find the thing under the thing. This is in the process that I teach called the thing under the thing. I learned this from a Hollywood editor called Jeff Barch. He used this process in his film editing to find the story beneath the surface of the story that we're watching. So, for example, The Karate Kid, where The Karate Kid is a story about a boy who faces his bully and wants to win a karate tournament for self-defense and protection. It's really a coming-of-age story. It's a boy finding himself through finding this mentor and gaining his own confidence and his own identity. That's the thing under the thing. So the thing under the thing in parenting is twofold. One, find the thing under the thing to myself, meaning my own triggers. What is triggering me so much about this behavior? Because this behavior is behavior. That's just what it is. But then it's triggering something within me that creates this emotional response, right? It's triggering maybe that I feel out of control. Maybe it's that I feel unheard. Typically, the thing under the thing comes down to a few different questions. Am I feeling seen? Am I feeling heard? Am I feeling validated? These three things, if we can answer this for both ourselves and our child, in these cases, when she's hitting, biting, hurting, taking toys, pushing, is she feeling seen? Is she feeling heard? Is she feeling validated? Start with yourself. Am I feeling seen? Am I feeling heard? Am I feeling validated? If any of those are no, that's where our own triggers lie. Let's address that with ourselves. And that way we can see her. What is the thing under the thing behind this pushing and hurting and taking toys? And sometimes it's just that this is how she chooses to communicate. So then it's just a matter of finding the strength in this and directing it towards something healthy, right? Oh, you're pushing. You're very, very strong, especially to much stronger than your baby brother. But because you're strong, that hurts him when you do this behavior. When you push, when you hit, that hurts him. But you're strong. You can do this, but hit that pillow over there, right? If you're angry, or if you're playing, use this to hit the pillow and make your brother laugh or something like that. So rather than just close the book on hitting, how can we direct that physical expression towards something helpful and healthy? You can use that if somebody else hits your brother. If you want to get into that, that's self-defense, that comes with a whole bunch of other baggage, right? But use this strength. How can you use this strength? You're very strong. Can you help me carry this maybe bag of groceries, like give them a little, like the bag of bread or something like that to carry? You're very strong. Can you use that to help me? So rather than closing their form of communication and their form of behavior, what if we direct it towards something more healthy? Because the fact that she thinks it's funny, it's not like she sees that this is causing harm and she's funny. She thinks it's funny that it's causing harm. I know that's what I've thought before. That's what most parents think. Oh my God, I'm raising a psychopath. No, it's not. Like, you're fine. This is normal. She's normal. You're normal. Like, it's not that. It is that she is 3. She doesn't know, she doesn't understand the gravity of her behavior, right? So we need to learn that. And we need to learn that she is strong, and we don't want to cover that flame. We want to let it glow bright, but we want to direct it, right? So it's not that she thinks it's funny that she's causing pain. She thinks it's funny, the reaction. She's looking for this reaction, which goes back to the first thing that I said, identify self-awareness. What is your reaction? And we want to react less, meaning with emotion, out of our triggered moments, and respond more. We want to quiet that and respond more, but we need to do that with a very specific process. And that starts with our own self-awareness. As soon as she hurts her brother, she looks at me and grins. Yeah, I know that looks like, again, like she seems like she's a psychopath. It's not. She grins because of the reaction she gets. She grins because it's fun to see mommy raise her voice, because that's stimulus. Or maybe you don't raise your voice, but whatever reaction you're getting, that's what she thinks is fun. So I've created, actually, I gave a lesson the other day, just by chance, on my Facebook page about a 4-step process that I use to deflate a situation, de-escalate a situation for myself, so that I can use that time to create a connection with my kids rather than cause division, right? And I feel more in control. I'll link that in the description below. Now, I really want to get to this too. I've read a half dozen gentle parenting books in the last couple months, but they've all muddled together in my mind, and I don't know what to do in the moment. Okay, this is very common because it's something that I call information saturation. And that's so common because of everything that's available to us now. In fact, I have a list of books, podcasts, resources, Instagram pages of things to help parents become more self-aware and to be stronger parents. But with all of this information that's available, we have information saturation. And then with so much information, we kind of don't know what to do. You start one and then you read another thing. So you go in that direction, then you see something on TikTok and you go in that direction, then you see, and you just take half steps towards all different directions and you end up going around in circles. Does that sound familiar? So try this. Go through these books much slower and use them as almost instruction manuals. So whatever books that you have, first, gentle parenting books. Gentle parenting is not a real thing. And I've said this before. The idea of gentle parenting is good. Let's be more gentle. Let's be more patient. Let's be more peaceable. Let's uplift rather than punish and resort to punishment. But people call gentle parenting this thing, and it's not really a thing. And a lot of the time when a parent maybe is trying gentle parenting and they blow up, or they end up yelling once, or they end up hitting their child, or they end up thinking bad things about their child, or they just try so much to do gentle parenting and it's causing so much stress. It's because it's not a real thing. Because the idea of that we should be more gentle as parents is awesome. But if once we put a gentle parenting label on an ideal, then we are putting our vague abstract idea of what gentle parenting means. Because if I ask you to explain what gentle parenting is in one sentence or less, could you do it? It's probably something you've never thought about before. And maybe just in the second, yeah, it's to parent more gently, or whatever your definition of is. Can you tell me in a clear, concise way what gentle parenting means in one sentence or less? If you ask 50 people, what is gentle parenting? You're going to get 50 different answers. And many of those answers are not going to be clear. They're not going to be concrete. And then when you have an ideology to reach for that's not concrete, the goalposts are always shifting. And if the goalposts are always shifting, you're always falling short. So what happens is this causes a lot of guilt in a lot of parents who are trying gentle parenting because the goalposts are shifting. And when they fall short of what they think gentle parenting, or those moments that stick out on our minds when we're not gentle, then we feel like a failure. Oh, I failed. I'm trying gentle parenting. Try less. Try gentle parenting less. And just be in the moment. Because the first person you should gentle parent is yourself. We need to gentle parent ourselves first. And then we can address our children out of the overflow of the love that we have for ourselves. And that's something most parents miss. And it's the most important step, is to gentle parent yourself first. Because if we don't, gentle parenting isn't a real thing. Okay, rant over. Now, let's get to steps on how to handle these half dozen or so gentle parenting books. So use them like an instruction manual. Like, meaning when you buy something from IKEA, you don't look at the instructions and say, okay, now let me take this and do what I, do the ideas that I heard or I read. No, you take it, you're like, okay, first you have these L-shaped things. No, I just have these things that look like sevens, but I have these L-shaped things, and then here are the bag of screws. So I take the bag of screws and then I connect this short plank with this long plank. This is the short one, this is the long one. And you go step by step until you build your shelf, or until you build your table, or whatever it is you got from IKEA. What if you revisited these and you did what they said step by step, But rather than going through an entire book and then getting another book and then getting another book, what if you took one of the suggestions that they say? You read a chapter on, how to handle biter or pusher, and you went through that chapter, and rather than just reading it and then going to the next chapter and saying, oh yeah, because the human mind works in a mysterious way. We can read some information and then we agree with that information. And then we say, oh, that's a great idea. And then we think we've learned that information because we agree with it. So then we don't take action on it because we think we already know it. Does that make sense? So rather than actually learning this, because I love a marketer named Alex Hormozy, he has a definition for learning, and his definition of learning is same situation, changed behavior. Meaning if you've learned something and the next time you're faced with the same situation and your behavior did not change, then there was no learning there. So we can apply that to our kids, but as leaders of the house, we need to apply that to ourselves first. So next time you are in a situation where your 3-year-old is hitting, if you respond the exact same way, then you didn't learn. Same as me. If I am in the same situation, I behave the same way, I did not learn. So going by that, read this book, read a chapter on a behavior, and maybe this type of parenting in this chapter doesn't apply to you, or maybe you've tried and it doesn't work, or maybe in your case, what's said in the book in the steps doesn't apply. Maybe your child is different. We're all different. So then you adapt it to see if it works, and you test it. And what if you tested it so much until it became habitual to do this? And that way, it's not just information that gets muddled together in your mind. It becomes your own behavior, your own response to your child's behavior. So then that's just the way you do it. And then you move on to the next chapter or the next behavior or the next thing you need in this parenting book. You implement that again and again and again, and mess up again and again and again. Learn every time you mess up until it becomes habitual within yourself to behave in this certain way, to respond in this certain way. And you go through the material like that rather than just read it like it's a novel. Does that make sense? So we want to put information saturation to the side. We don't need more information. Go through these again and look at them like building an IKEA shelf or some sort of instruction manual to go step by step until your behavior becomes internalized, until it becomes behavior that you do within your body and you show up in a different way. See if that helps as far as getting information in your head to becoming behavior. Test that. Let me know how it goes. So I trust that this was helpful. I hope this was helpful. If it is helpful, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. I should have done this earlier in the video, but here we are. Hit the subscribe button and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Share it with someone who needs it. And thank you. You are doing an amazing job. I'm going to put some information down below, including a PDF of language patterns and sentence patterns that I've used and others have used to create healthy communication within the family. And as I said here, it starts within us. So identify and remove those raccoons, those negative thoughts and those negative ideas that keep us stuck and keep parenting so hard. Remove those and replace it with healthy communication with our kids so that this behavior changes over time and we grow together and build those connections. That's what these sentence patterns do. Grab that below. It's completely free. And there are other opportunities to work with me below. I'll put those in the pinned comment at the top. Other than that, thank you. You're doing an amazing job. I'll see you in the next one.